Football Week 4 preview show. We've got a great list of handicappers on this show. We've got Joe D'Amico, Chris Ruffalo, Ron Romanelli, Al McMorty, Rod Zawacki, Brian Bittler, and Jovan who's been red hot. Red hot. And so I think Rod and Jovan are just, I don't think they've missed a game in a month or something. It's like they're on fire. But anyways, it's my favorite day of the week during my favorite time of the year. It's college football Saturday, and we got a loaded card. Joe, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited for today's games. I'm trying to work out which ones I'm going to get the feed for.
It's like
pretty exciting.
It's like we have a really good mix of games today. We have like some rivalry games, and then we have some conference games. We've got all kinds of stuff going on here. So it should be a solid, it's like gavel to gavel. We start off with Wisconsin, Notre Dame, like right out of the gate. And then we have Michigan, Rutgers looks to be a pretty good battle. West Virginia, Oklahoma tonight. Got, a bunch of other good games. And, all of our cappers today are going to talk about these as well. We have,
for sure. There's not a time slot that I'm not excited for. There's good games all day long. It will just be a matter of which ones I can watch.
That's how I feel the same way. But good morning to everyone that's joining us. As usual, I'm still trying to figure out some tech stuff here behind the scenes, but it's the way that it is. But it's like when you click on something and then nothing happens, right? It's like it's the worst case scenario, especially live. But hopefully our picks are clicking today, and that's really all that matters.
It definitely will.
I think
definitely
so.
will. We had an exciting night of college football last night. Great games there.
Yeah, that Syracuse game was really exciting. I thought it was really the best of the bunch for me. I was surprised at how bad Fresno was. I know Brian Bittler was all over it on that one, so congratulations to him. He finally got one right. I'm just kidding.
Well, I love the over in that. And then how UNLV came out getting that team total over 13.5 in that first quarter. It was beautiful to see.
Yeah, it was. And, I thought that Charlotte game against Middle Tennessee, it was only fitting that it ended in a push. It was just such bad football, right? I mean, it's bad.
It was.
It's like throw it on a Friday night and maybe someone will watch it. But anyway, speaking about something that someone wants to watch, we're going to bring on Joe D'Amico. He's always our opener here on our College Football Saturday show. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Morning, Mitch. Joe, I'm very happy to be here. This is my favorite day of the week, just like you, Mitch. I mean, as you mentioned just prior to in the intro, this is where the rubber meets the road in college football. We've got conference games, big conference matchups today. We got rivalry games. This is really where I think overall where the college football season really starts. First couple of weeks, a little warm up, a little taste, a little appetizer. Now we're going to the main course, guys, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to feast today.
Yeah, I really like today's card as well. I narrowed it. I had to narrow it down, and I still don't feel like I've got my right mix of games, but because I just like so many games on this card, and there's so many games where you can look at it and say, well, this is a square play, and this is a sharp play, and this is whatever, and it's like I don't care if they're square or sharp. I just want to cash some tickets today because I really feel, I'm generally a slow starter when it comes to really almost every season. College football, baseball, basketball. I'm the guy that, in September, I'm never on the leaderboards, but the end of October through December, I'm always near the top. And then, January and February, I'm okay. And then in March, I'm always near the top. So it's kind of like it takes me through the season to get it. And I'm more of a conference type guy, in these conference games, right, where you know the teams and you understand the matchups, and that's more like, the college football that I know. It's tough for me to figure out these out of conference games where, you just don't know what's going to happen. It's one week, one team, beats the hell out of the other, and then the next week they just look like, is this the same team we watched last week, right? Meanwhile, it's like we have a team like the Ohio State Buckeyes, ranked in the hundreds in defense this year, which is just unheard of, And then we have other teams like, like we saw last night, Wake Forest, who just looks like an unstoppable machine on offense, right? It's like it's a bizarro world. But, Joe, what do you got for us today?
Well, I've got a couple of big winners today, and I got to tell you, today I feel is probably my most explosive, my highest-rated card I've seen in over a year in college football. My first free game. Sports fans, if you want to talk about money, look no further than Iowa. 9-0 straight up their last 9 outings. 8-1 against the spread. They're 3-0 thus far this season. My friends, they shredded a very scrappy Indiana team. They beat Iowa State outright. Then got us all paid last week, laying 22 points and covering against Kent. They own the 4th-ranked defense in the nation. They give up just 10 points a game. Guys, their stop unit gets offenses off the field in 3-and-outs and creates turnovers. By the way, 5 big takeaways already on the campaign. Anyway, they get offenses off the field so quickly that opposing defenses are on the field so long, they get worn down and run out of gas. Not only that, but this is one of the healthiest teams in college football in the nation. They list 1 player on the roster as questionable. To me, going into 3 and 4 games, the 3rd and 4th week for some of these teams, that's the most amazing stat of all. They got 1 guy listed as questionable. This is a healthy team. Then I want to talk about Spencer Petras, Tyler Goodson, both solid athletes. More importantly, these 2 offenders make very few, if any, mistakes. And to me, college football is about mistakes. If you're not turning the ball over and you're not creating turnovers, you're not going to put W's in the win column. And I think that's really the most important thing. All right, both very solid. Now, I want to talk Colorado State, guys. With all respect to Colorado State fans, this team is a doormat. They are a doormat, a doormat, a doormat. Last week, they beat Toledo. Don't get your hopes up. Look closely at this game. Their offense didn't score a single point. They got a punt return for a touchdown and 5 field goals. Guys, if they couldn't score on the Rockets, how in the heck are they going to score on the Hawkeyes? Here are some against the spread trends for you guys. Iowa, 5-1-1 the last 7 games played at home. 4-0 the last 4 non-conference matchups. 4-0 the last 4 games played in the month of September. Guys, don't worry about laying the wood here because CSU ain't no Paul Bunyan. They ain't chopping that wood. Take Iowa, lay the points again. This is my 3rd week in a row with them, and we're going to continue to win in Iowa, get paid on that spread. Guys, they're going to win this game. They're going to crush this team, and they're going to show the rest of the conference what they're made of.
Joe Madden, what do you think of Iowa this week? I love that Iowa defense, and it's homecoming at Iowa, so we know that they get up for it. We talked about the kettle corn at Iowa, and I'm a big fan of that as well. I like it. It's sweet. It's salty. It kind of pushes all the buttons for me. You know what? I ended up eating ice cream for lunch yesterday after talking about the kettle corn. And normally I only eat ice cream once a day, and then yesterday I had it twice a day, so it was a big day for me. But Joe, what do you?
Huge day for you, obviously. I'm with you guys on Iowa here. We talked about it yesterday. I think this team is going to come out way too strong for Colorado State. They're 3-0 on the season, 3-0 against the spread. Easily cover today.
I'm with you on Iowa, Joe. I think they absolutely crush them. This one almost made my premium plays. It was on the list of premium plays for me, and it just missed. There was a few other games that I don't know. I like a little more. If I would have gone to more plays, which I could have easily done today, this one would have been on the list for sure. It was a game that Joe and I talked about all week on our afternoon shows.
Mitch, if I may, when I have ice cream regularly for lunch, and I want to tell you how I even it out. I wait in my house until I hear the ice cream truck pass me by about 2 minutes. Then I run after it. So I run about a mile. So I figure it evens out. If I'm going to eat 6 or 7 ice cream bars, I just ran a mile or 2 after the ice cream truck. It evens out. I love it. Nothing wrong with ice cream in the afternoon.
I like how you think.
That is strong thinking right there.
I love it.
So
I've got a second game if you'd like, Mitch.
Absolutely.
All right. I want to talk Kentucky, South Carolina. Now, sports fans, for all you Gamecock fans out there that are excited that after 6 straight losses and no covers to finish last season's campaign, that this season, South Carolina has a record of 2-1 straight up, 2-0-1 against the number. Let's pump those brakes a bit, guys. Mark Stoops and his Wildcats have won 6 of the last 7 meetings in the series straight up. More importantly, 7 of the last 8 against the spread. The most recent matchup, you may recall last December, a massacre. Kentucky shellacked South Carolina 41-18. This season, Kentucky's already 3-1 straight up, 2-1 against the number. Talk about those wins and those against the spread, and that against the spread loss. They beat ULM and then bested Missouri. Then in a sandwich spot, I think they took it easy on Chattanooga looking ahead to this matchup. let me talk about Will Levis. He's a Penn transfer. He is a heck of a gunslinger. 64% completion rate, 800 yards passing, 7-4 on the ratio. Then there is one of the most amazing, really underrated running backs in the country, Chris Rodriguez, 377 yards rushing, 4 scores. I feel the tandem is going to keep the Gamecocks defense backpedaling all game while the stellar, and I mean stellar defense of the Wildcats shut down the very pedestrian offense of the Gamecocks. A couple of ATS trends, guys. South Carolina, 1-6 the last 7 in conference play, 1-5-1 the last 7 played as a home dog, 2-6 the last 8 played versus teams with a winning record. I'm laying the short price for Kentucky here. I really do think that this game is going to get out of hand. I think Kentucky is that much better. I like Mark Stoops. I like this defense. This game is going to get uglier than a Kardashian before cosmetic surgery. Trust me, it's going to get ugly, Mitch. That's funny, but it's true. Take a look at those Kardashians before cosmetic surgery. But, guys, listen, this game is going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. I like Kentucky. I think I saw a 5 on the game. It might be a 5.5 laying around, but either way, under 6 or 7, I think this is a very, very good play.
I'm on the other side here. I like South Carolina at home. SEC teams at home, just kind of a thing for me. I just think that, South Carolina, not a horrible team. I think Kentucky probably wins this game. I think South Carolina finds a way to lose it. I just think they might stay inside the number here. South Carolina coming off a tough loss between the hedges last week against Georgia, going to be a little bit salty. I think Stoops is a good coach, not a great coach. They're generally fast starters and slow finishers, so they are at that right time of year. This game, I don't have a wager on the game, but it's a lean to South Carolina with the points only. But I think Kentucky wins. It's one of those games where it's like, do they win by this much or do they win by this?
I got you.
It's a little tight for me, but I could probably be talked off of South Carolina pretty easily.
Well, I'll tell you, Mitch, this is a game that almost made it as a premium play for me. And it didn't because I just felt really strongly about the games that did make it as premium plays. But I do like this game. I do think that I do like Mark Stoops. I do like this defense. And I think the defense is going to be the difference in this game. But that's why sports fans out there and viewers, that's why I love being on the PickDawgz show, because we have a slew of different types of handicappers that have different angles, but yet documented winners across the board. And the transparency, because next week, whether I win or I lose, if I win, I'll give Mitch some flack. If I lose, Mitch is going to give me some flack. All in good fun, but I want you to know that's why the PickDawgz show is so great, because we're not all cookie cutters of each other. Certainly nobody, very few of us talk the same, look the same, speak the same, or have the same angles on games, and that's why the PickDawgz show is the best out there, guys.
Well, speaking of which, Joe Madden, what do you think of this one? Because Joe's not one to usually just nod her head and agree with people either.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm not taking a side on this one, you guys. I'm looking at this over. And yes, surprisingly, we've got 2 really strong defenses, but I think in this matchup, we're going to see a lot more out of these offenses. I think this number is too low. I'm seeing 49.5, 49 on some books. So I'm hitting this over in this one.
There you go. I love it.
I could see that as well. Joe, tell us about what you got for sale. I have on the board here Joe D's 3 strongest NCAA Saturday winners. I know you've been pretty hot with your football for the last 25 years.
Yeah, I look good for my age. For the last millennium, since Knute Rockne was coaching. I'll tell you guys, so far between college and pro football, Mitch, Joe, I put out 10 big games, 9-1 with big game releases. And today I feel is about my strongest card I put out in college football in years. Certainly the biggest this year. And I think going back, I look back last year, and I even think over the last year, I've got 4 big games on the board. I have one early game. I have my 18-4 Annihilator, my 25-4 Oddsmaker's Mistake, my 28-7 Consensus, which are 3-0 this season, and my biggest release of the year thus far, my Big 12 game of the month. Now, there's one of these games, sports fans, goes off early, but I wanted you guys who might be catching the show a little later or going to the website a little later to take advantage of my 3 strongest plays. So I put up a 3-game discounted package, Mitch, over at PickDawgz. Whatever you do, you follow me today, you're going to make some money, because I really do feel this is about the highest rated card I have seen since at least going back to the beginning of last season.
Awesome. Well, we wish you luck today, and we're sure that those 3 strong plays are super strong, because you don't just use those words lightly, that's for sure. But
appreciate it, Mitch. I love you guys, man. I can't Can't wait to come back on tomorrow. I might be a little deaf. I'm going to NASCAR today. So my voice may be even louder. So sports fans, you may have to lower your volume on your computers. Yeah, even though you do it every time I come on. Thank you for having me.
Did they do the parade down the strip for NASCAR this year? Because they always do the parade right down the middle of the strip, and then,
I don't know, Mitch. There was something going on last night where they closed the strip off for several blocks. There was something going on, and I don't know. It
had to be the NASCAR parade. They do it every year for the big race, and I'm usually out there. Football season, but I'm
actually, you've got to get out here because there's a lot of stuff opening up. I've got those tickets for the Raider games. We've got a lot of things happening. We've got some great shows. We just talked to Michael Bublé last night. Tonight, Derek Huff. I got to go. My wife's got a crush on him. Tomorrow, Styx. I am just looking forward. I'm just happy Vegas is opening up. And now that Vegas is opening up, everybody on the panel, please come out. Joe, Mitch, Chris, Rod, everybody, Brian, Ronnie, Jovan, come on out. Let's have some fun. But anybody out there, any of the viewers too, you come out to Vegas, hit me up. If I can't meet you, I'll just get you some show tickets. Well, watch, I'm going to get like 1,000 requests for like Raiders tickets, but I'm always available to meet any of the people that support me over here at PickDawgz or any of the PickDawgz crew. Mitch, thank you for having me once again. Joe, I can't wait till tomorrow. We'll see who has bragging rights after today's South Carolina-Kentucky matchup, Mitch. Everybody on the show, good luck. To everybody out there, good luck. Have a winning day, and thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All the best today, Joe. Thank you.
Once again, that was Joe D'Amico here with his college football picks for this week. He had 2 picks in that one. He had Kentucky and
Iowa.
I like that Iowa pick. I got to say, I think the Kentucky is a little bit of a reach for me on that one. I like South Carolina at home in the SEC contest. But, I thought that, like I said, I think this card is really good. And I think, after this week when we head into conference play, it's going to be even more exciting as we're seeing this week less cupcake games, is what we're seeing this week. We absolutely are. And, we can't talk about cupcakes without bringing in our next guest, and that's Chris Ruffalo. Loves a good cupcake. And, I always say the best slice of cake is better, or the worst slice of cake is better than the very best cupcake. But Ruffalo, I have a feeling, has, really some strong expertise in this area. Chris, what do you think? You like a good cupcake, or you like a slice of cake? What are you thinking here?
Mitch, how dare you? There is no such thing as a worse slice of cake.
Well, is Boston cream pie a cake or a pie?
Got to be a pie.
I think it's a cake.
That's a cake.
I think it's a cake.
Really?
It's got.
But it says pie in the name.
I know.
I've
but
never
it's got
had it.
Slices of yellow cake with it's slices of yellow cake. It's not in a tin.
Okay, no, I'm gonna have to Google it because I don't even know what it looks like.
Oh, no, then why do you? If it's
why don't I have an opinion?
No, I didn't say why do you have an opinion. I have a wife. I understand you never say that. It's like, I understand. It's just like, I don't even go anywhere near that.
Okay, why? If it says pie, does it look like a cake? You guys are right. A cake.
Yeah, it's a cake all the way.
My argument is, why do you drive on a parkway and park in a driveway?
Good point.
It's a good one, Chris. But I don't know. It's Boston cream pie. But
look, we can all just agree it's delicious. We don't have to worry about if it's cake or pie. It's delicious.
So college football season,
delicious.
We're in week 4. We know you do a lot of the write-ups at sportschatplace.com. You've been doing it for a long time. And, of course, now co-hosting the drive-thru with Tony T. You've been doing the soccer videos with Goran. I heard there was a mention of me during the Lazio video, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. But I have a strict no Lazio policy with Goran. He's not allowed to do premium picks on Lazio games. It's I don't think he's ever won one. So
yeah, that might have been the mention.
it's like you put in Lazio again, you're out of here. It's like I can't do it anymore. I'm not grading this thing.
Yeah, that's why I said, why are we doing the Lazio video? Mitch is going to have a conniption when he finds out this happened. But Goran's like, no, we had to do it. It's one of the biggest games on the board. I'm like, okay, fine. Well, I'm not taking the heat for this though.
Well, what's a game you got for us in college football action today?
Well, one of my favorite games on the board, I think that I'm going to be giving out as a free play, is the Missouri Tigers. Now, yes, the Boston College Eagles coming into this one 3-0, but again, I'm going to steal a phrase from Joe D. You got to pump the brakes on this one because you look at what Boston College has been up against. They've been up against a Temple team starting their backup quarterback. They played a UMass team starting their backup quarterback, and an FCS team in Colgate who probably has a better job, brushing teeth than they do playing college football. But but they're gonna have their toughest test here against a Missouri team starting Connor Bazelak, one of the better quarterbacks I think in the SEC, and he's thrown for almost 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, and only 1 interception this year. And Missouri's got a playmaker in Tyler Beatty, who's been one of the more underrated running backs in college football, in my opinion. And you look at Boston College, well, they're also going to be a team without their starting quarterback. Phil Jerkovich had hand surgery a couple weeks ago. And I just think this is a spot where you're going to see an SEC team flex some muscle over an ACC team. I have no idea why the line is this low. I'm all over Missouri in this one.
Joe, any take on this?
Yeah, you know what? I don't have a play on this one today. So my gut is still Boston College. They're 3-0, 2-1 against the spread. There's just something about Missouri. They haven't been covering the spread. I'm just not loving them in this matchup. This is a stay away for me. So, because I really don't know.
Everyone knows I'm an Eli Drinkowitz guy, but at the same time, this run defense is just an absolute sieve. And if you can't stop the run, you can't win college football games, especially on the road. I'm a little worried against this Boston College attack. Boston College I know the SEC has dominated the ACC this year, right? We know that, right? But in this game, we look at the matchup itself, and I would have to say, the Missouri being this bad against the run, they got absolutely sliced by Kentucky in that game. And, we just heard from Joe D'Amico his feelings about Kentucky, but, 127th in the nation against the run. Teams are running 269.3 yards per game against them and also allowing 29 points per game. This is very un-Missouri-like. This is a team that, are known. You look around the NFL and it's like the sack masters all went to Missouri, right? And it's like, but, you can't sack a running back. And I think that's part of the issue here. You look at the BC offense, 31st in the nation at rushing the football, 205.7 yards per game. I get it. They played UMass. I fully understand that. But at the same time, they're not going to beat themselves either. And, that we know about Boston College teams. I'm a little sketchy on this pick, Chris.
Yeah, that's okay. We can't always agree, but it's just one of my favorite plays on the board, just because I am an Eli Drinkwitz guy as well, and I think that maybe this is a get right spot for the Missouri Tigers.
Anyone have a thought on this total? Both of these offenses are able to score quite high. Missouri is 40 points per game. And Boston College is a 41. So
I think that's a good angle, Joe. I could see some points in this one. The Boston College defense is ranked 12th in the nation, 18th against the pass and 36th against the run. But like I said, it's Temple, UMass, and Colgate. It's not Alabama, Auburn, and Michigan or something, right? So it's always tough to tell in these out-of-conference games. And this is why I struggle early in the season in college football. Well, that along with just some stupid-ass picks that I've made. But it's like, generally at the beginning of the year is when I do struggle in most sports. And it's because, in these out-of-conference games, it's always tough to get a real read on them. Missouri played in conference against Kentucky, and like I said, they did not hold up in that game. They allowed 236 yards rushing against Kentucky, and it just doesn't bode well here. But, we saw them put points on the board as well, so, I like the over too.
Yeah, I like the over. I think that 58 is pretty low. I'm seeing 58. Actually, I love that over. The more I look at these stats.
Chris, what else you have for us?
Another one, I'm going to look at one of the marquee games and a game that's getting a lot of attention. If you're a Clemson Tigers fan, I'm a little bit concerned. This is Mitch, you talked about an Ohio State team that's ranked in the hundreds in defense. Well, you got a Clemson team that's 102nd in the country in terms of passing yards per game, 95th in rushing, and they're 106th in scoring, putting up just 22 points a game. That was after last week's narrow 14-8 win over Georgia Tech as 27.5-point home favorites. And the offense just isn't clicking under DJ Uiagalelei, and it's unfathomable for a Clemson team. This is looking like a Clemson team that's more Kelly Bryant than Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson, and this is just a tough spot against an NC State team that is going to come in, I think, with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, not feeling they get the respect they deserve, and I think this is going to be a smash mouth game all the way, and I'm looking at the under 48 here. I just think that if you take all the numbers away, this is still a good Clemson defense. And yes, while NC State can put up points in bunches, I think this is just going to be tough sledding on both sides. I wouldn't be surprised if this game struggles to hit 30 points.
Joe?
Yeah, give me the Wolfpack in this one all day with the points. I agree with you. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, tough battle, and a spread of 10 is just too much for this Clemson team. We're not seeing the same Clemson team we used to with Trevor Lawrence, and I think the books are still working on that, where people think of Clemson as Trevor Lawrence. So give me the Wolfpack to cover the spread today with those 10 points.
I think this is another one that I had on my list of when I first go through all the games and I say, all right, these are going to be my premium picks, right? And I just write down, and it's like half the games I end up on the list. And before I whittle down, NC State was originally on my list, but I started to look a little deeper, and I'm just not as sure. NC State at home has been a lot better than the road. They're similar to Maryland, right? Where they're really good at home. They're okay on the road because they have good enough athletes to get them through against the lesser teams, but against the good teams, they get stomped on the road, right? So Clemson, generally are slow starters. We saw them last year against Syracuse struggle at home, also almost losing that game too. But now you start to dig into this line, and it did drop from 10.5 to 10 at the open, but now it's back to 10.5, and that's with betting pressure on NC State with 54% of the money on NC State. You're now seeing inverse line movement to Clemson. And to me, that makes this a no play. It's either NC State money line or Clemson's going to beat them by 50 is the way that I see this one. I don't know. Just my take. The hell do I know? Chris, do you see a scenario where NC State wins this game outright?
Absolutely, I do. I think there is a spot where you could see NC State, where Devin Leary just comes out and throws all over the field, or at least maybe there's a last second field goal that goes NC State's way here. Like I said, I just haven't been impressed with Clemson's offense this year under a new starting quarterback. It just looks like they're struggling to adjust to life without Trevor Lawrence. Yes, this is a Clemson team that, like you said, Mitch, has historically started slow, but usually they have it figured out by now. And at this point, it's almost a case with Clemson. I never thought I'd have to say this with a Dabo Swinney Clemson team, but it's almost a case of where I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it. Until then, I think you have to take a shot. I mean, potentially you're getting great value with NC State on the money line. There's nothing saying that the Wolfpack can't upset Clemson at home here.
Yeah, I think, someone like me, maybe an NC State Akron moneyline parlay or something. Anyways.
That would be great if they came out and beat Ohio State. And Ohio State's my team, but I'd love to see it.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either, but come on, Ohio State has been playing terrible defensively. It wouldn't shock me if it happened.
They're a sieve.
It's going to be one of those things we look back and go, damn, should have bet that yesterday.
Yeah. It's like, I was joking. Mitch was joking about it on the show, but actually. Chris, what else do you have for today?
My last one for the day is a game that, which I think you talked about on the drive-through, this Louisville-Florida State matchup. It's kind of been calling my name, but in terms of a total, I'm looking at the over here. This is a Florida State team that, yes, a lot is being made about that loss to Jacksonville State and, an 0-3 record. But I have to think that, this is a spot where or Florida State kind of puts their big boy pants on and steps up to play a Louisville team that can put up points in bunches like we saw them do against UCF. We saw what Louisville can do when they finally live up to their potential under Malik Cunningham at quarterback. And Florida State, this is still a Florida State team that hung 38 points on Notre Dame at home, and this is where you're starting to see a reasonable total at 61. 61 sounds like a lot, but again, for these two teams that can put points on the board, 61 is a reasonable total. And I could see this being another replica of that UCF game for Louisville where it finishes 42-35, or for Florida State, that Notre Dame game, it was 41-38. So I think we're going to get around 70 points in that one. I'm looking at the over.
I could see it happening. The Florida State defense has looked like a sieve, and Louisville's defense certainly nothing to write home about, especially on the road. They're going to, it's Louisville. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you all day on this over. We see two teams whose secondaries really are not stopping much, and these offenses are going to light up the board tonight. So give me that over 61.
I'm with you. Chris, I see you have a CFB Saturday Super 7 pack today. It's the generic CFB Super 7, but it is the Super 7 nonetheless. How many plays are you got in that package?
If my math is right, I think 7.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. But today I got a little something for everybody. If college football's not your game, if you're not interested in that Super 7, well, I got an MLB 3-pack. There's something for everybody at PickDawgz. Guys, I can't stress this enough. The best value, whether it's just me or with another cap or the 2-for-1 cap deal, are those long-term passes. The 3, 7, or 30-day. A 3-day alone today is what the Super 7 pack that Mitch was referencing. $50 for an extra $20. You're getting an extra 2 days worth of plays. NFL, MLB, some of the best value I think in sports handicapping across the board here. And like I said, that 2-for-1 capper deal. Pair me up with anyone on the show, whether it's Joe, Mitch, Jovan, Rod, anyone you see here. That's some of your best value. Go check that out over at PickDawgz.
Well, Chris, thanks for joining us. Yeah, I'm just reading through the comments here. I'm going to have to ask Joe D'Amico to get me a stick shirt. I don't have one. I got to get one. I want the Grand Illusion one, though. I don't want the Mr. Roboto stuff. Anyways, Chris, thanks for joining us, and I'm going to go with cake on today's pie. You're going to be with us tomorrow for NFL football?
As sure as I am that Boston cream pie is a cake, absolutely I will.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Best of luck, Chris.
That was Chris Ruffalo. Of course, you can see him every day, 5 days a week on the drive-thru with Tony T. And Joe, kind of ripping through today's card. And, the cappers definitely, I think the fun part of this show, it's like, it's not just me and you arguing with Brian and Rod all day. It's kind of like we're getting a different take from a bunch of different cappers here. And, you could kind of see that everyone has a different way of doing things. And that's how you land on different sides. A lot of people, when they read the website or they get confused, they think that, we're all about like a site consensus. Like we all sit around a coffee table with hookers and blow and have this big party and decide what kind of what picks we're gonna have and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
definitely not happening.
It's not the way that it really works. It's kind of like everybody is their own person, and that's we like that. That's kind of what it's all about. Is that there's a variety of different styles. Some people are like I only play 3 picks a day. I only play 1 pick a day. We have got people for that. We have some people that put out 9 picks, 10 picks. It's like we have something for everyone. It's kind of what it's all about. But we've got one of the young guns out there, Ron Romanelli, up next from Gainesville. Bring Ron back on. Last week we talked to Ron about that 2-point conversion attempt. Does it feel any better today?
Not quite. It's still a stinging loss, but big rivalry game today for those Gators at the Swamp against Tennessee. So let's see if they can respond in a big way against one of their bigger rivals. But this rivalry has been pretty one-sided as of late. I think the Gators are on a real big win streak when it comes to straight-up wins against Tennessee. So should be a good game at the Swamp.
What's the general fan opinion? Everyone knows my opinion on Dan Mullen, but what's the general fan opinion of this guy who really has never won anything? right, as a head coach. He had Dak Prescott at Mississippi State, and he started the season. They were actually he got them to number 1 ranked in the country before they lost about 4 or 5 in a row. But generally, he was about a 6-6 guy at Mississippi State because of the SEC bowl tie-ins. He would go to a nice bowl game every year. But what's the general consensus there? He hasn't really. He's got the Gators to the mountain. He has got them to the championship game, which is, well, a quarter of the goal. The goal is to win the SEC championship in Florida every year. That is on top of the board every single year. Steve Spurrier set that precedent, and he said, our goal every season is to win the SEC championship, and then we worry about everything else after that. I think, it's going to take a win over Georgia. If they lose to Georgia, are they going to call for this guy's head?
Well, I think the general fan, opinion on Mullen is he's a fan favorite. I mean, a lot of the fans really like him. He does a lot for the college itself and the university. He's in and out, and he's honestly just a well-liked guy in terms of Gator fans. Obviously some people are going to disagree with some of the things he does, play call wise, but I'd say I think he's going to be a Gator for quite some time. Beating Georgia would definitely help his resume and keeping him for longer. But I mean, he was just extended, I think, a contract extension this past offseason. Obviously the goal is always SEC championship, college football playoff. There's nothing less than that. Not, only losing to Alabama by 2 points is not what you want to see if you're a Gator fan. That's not the expectation. So he definitely has, stuff to live for, and stuff to coach for left on the table. But I do think that the fans really like Dan Mullen.
All right. Well, what do you got for us here today for your first pick?
Yeah, my first play, I'm going to go to that USF and BYU game. I'm going to fade the USF Bulls yet again. Just really not convinced with this team at all on either side of the ball. You looked at their last game against Florida A&M. They were not able to cover the 22-point spread at home. Just a game that USF looked completely sloppy on both sides of the ball, especially in the second half. Florida A&M was able to torch the secondary in that second half and find that cover. It was a 21-point final score, or 38-17, but it felt like a 2-touchdown game. It actually felt like Florida A&M was playing as a better team in that second half. BYU, on the other side, a team that's scheduled plenty of really good games this year against plenty of Pac-12 teams, a couple of Mountain West and ACC school in Virginia. So this is a team, a lot of expectations. They've already 3-0 this season, and I think this is a feel-good type of win. You get a blowout W at home. I don't see USF hanging around, so I'll lay the points with BYU.
Joe, BYU would be in first place if they played in the Pac-12, beating 3 Pac-12 teams in their first 3 games they have scheduled up. South Florida, I don't know, that game against Florida where they covered, it wasn't like they did anything. I thought it was really just poor quarterback play by Jones for Florida, telegraphing his passes and throwing those interceptions. When the Gators basically had their way in that game, they ran all over them, and they could have won. It could have been a 63-0 type game in that one, just like the 45-0 beatdown that we saw in the opening Thursday at NC State for USF. This is their first time back on the road since that 45-0 game. Joe, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I'm loving BYU all day though in this game. I think they come out. I think they win this one. They're going to have a great game. I'm just trying to find what the line was on this one again.
I think it's up to 23.5.
23.5.
Yeah. Yeah, give it to me all day long. I love BYU in this situation.
Joe Madden, BYU, I'm with you. We're going to make it 3 BYUs here. I think they steamroll them. Looks a little obvious, little square, but but it doesn't matter. I think this is one of those ones where, I think for good reason,
Yeah,
absolutely.
For good reason.
It's definitely square.
Throwing the altitude in that BYU crowd. I mean, I know they're not known for this, but, I've been on the internet for quite some time, and I got to tell you, these guys are tough customers, these BYU people. They've had a few choice words for me over the years. I'm taking BYU.
What time is this BYU
I know better.
game?
It's pretty late, I believe.
Okay.
Let me see.
10:30
I keep
Eastern or
scrolling
something.
and can't see the numbers.
10:15 Eastern.
10:15 Eastern.
Perfect. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think you'll catch USF sleeping there, but
4:15 Hawaii time.
I'll be sleeping. But for this next game, I'm going to talk about the Louisiana and Georgia Southern game. This one also is a little bit of a public play, but I mean, Georgia Southern really off to a rough start to the season. They're known as a triple option team, but they're actually passing the ball a little bit more than usual this season. Hasn't really bode well for them. 15 points per game, 330 total yards per game. The offense has not done well at all. Last 2 games, they were held to around 250 yards of total offense. Even in their FCS game against Gardner-Webb, they only won the game by 5 points. The defense is giving up the run and the pass in bunches. The secondary's given up at least 330 passing yards in each of their first 3 games of the season. And now you got a Louisiana team that, obviously lost their first game against Texas, had big expectations going into the year. But, this is still a team that wants the Sun Belt Championship, and they can do it if they run the table. And this is, a conference game. It means a lot to both of these teams. But Louisiana has the ability to run the ball, obviously to pass the ball with Levi Lewis. And I think that you're going to see a 3-touchdown victory by Louisiana. So I'll lay the points with the Raging Cajuns.
The bettors agree with you as the line is moving higher in this game. Joe?
And a Ruffalo this one.
Straight Ruffalo. No opinion whatsoever.
No opinion whatsoever in this one.
And I could see it. I mean, the Sun Belt's not for everyone. We know that.
No.
But, for me, it's like I like Louisiana in this one as well. We saw them against Texas. They looked absolutely overmatched in that game. And we see some of the statistics they're still paying the price for that. Texas is a big, fast team. And in Austin, against a team like ULL, even with Steve Sarkisian coaching, they have the ability to cover. So I think you can give them a pass on that, a Ruffalo. But I think what you can't give a pass on is a team that's ranked 127th against the pass, and that is Georgia Southern, 128th overall in defense, 531.7 yards per game. Everyone knows I'm a defensive guy. I can't let that slide, right? I mean, I just can't do it. It's not within me. Louisiana, even you throw out the Texas game. I mean, they're even with the Texas game, they're 36th in the nation in passing against that 127th ranked pass defense. This could be 40, 50 points. This is first half Louisiana. It's like I missed this as a premium pick, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is if Louisiana has to get off to the hot start. If they do, if they go up 21-0, I can't see Georgia Southern coming back because, like we mentioned, this is a triple option team that has not been able to move the ball. So, I think if you jump out to that big lead with Louisiana, there's no looking back. I think they don't even have to keep their foot on the gas pedal. I think they'll just coast to the cover and victory. So that's why I think that Georgia Southern's in a bad spot, even at home in this one.
Georgia Southern, 116th in points allowed per game, but they don't turn the ball over, which is really a weird thing, right? That they've only turned the ball over once this season, yet they've still allowed 36 points per game. Of course, they haven't forced a takeaway yet either, but, at the same time, it's like normally when you see teams that give up, 35, 40 points a game, they're turnover machines, but not Georgia Southern. This is a gift that keeps on giving. I think I'm all over this one.
I'm glad you're joining me on that one, but
I will take a note.
Writing it down.
Normally, I might as well just put it in right now.
There you go. Put it in while I'm talking about this Oregon State and USC game. I like 2 plays in this one. I like the Oregon State Beavers getting the points, and I like the over. I think you got a good old-fashioned Pac-12 shootout on our hands. 2 teams that can pass the ball but really can't stop the pass. So Oregon State, the first 2 games, gave up over 300 yards passing in the first 2 games. Sure, they did great against Idaho, but who hasn't? And you looked at USC, they're also struggling defensively, more so against the run, but even against the pass, we saw against San Jose State, they gave up 308 passing yards, and they're definitely putting up a lot of points, 400 passing yards in the last game against Washington State. I think both teams are in the 30s in this one, so I definitely like the over. And I do think it's going to be a 10-point, 7-point win for USC. So I do think there's some value in Oregon State with the points here. The Sharps are all over Oregon State, and I'm going to agree with them on this one. So I'll take the Beavers.
I'm with you. I like the Beavers in this one as well. Joe?
I'm loving that over. I really do see a high-scoring game, like you said. 35, 39 kind of points in this one. So, yeah, give me that over all day long.
Yeah, it's weird because 2 weeks ago at USC, they fired their coach 2 games into the season. Now they beat Washington State, who stinks, and all is well. 11-point favorites. They open as 13-point favorites in this one. As Ron said, the Sharps just pounding this one down as the big money. And you got to have to remember, USC is actually a big money team. The proximity to Vegas is there. And, we're seeing 50%, 50-50 on the bets. And 75% of the money on Oregon State, and the line coming down 2 full points in this thing. So looks almost too obvious. But
maybe a public dog, but I think Oregon State's got it. And I do like that over as well.
When the line moves with it, generally it's okay.
Yeah. And there's still some time for some more line movement. If it goes to 10.5, then I'm really liking it. But that's my 3 plays for the day. As far as what I have for sale today, I have my college football 7-pack. You get all 7 of my best plays. And you don't hear me say I love today's card all the time, but just like everybody else on the show, it seems I really love today's card. I actually had 21 plays that I had as my final cut picks. Had to whittle it down to these 7. And, I don't like to say game of the year, game of the month too often because I never know what's coming around the corner. But there's a few of them that could definitely be game of the month, game of the year candidates. I think it's going to be a really good day. We haven't had the best week this week, but this would be the perfect day for a big bounce back. I'm feeling a 5-2, 6-1, 7-0 kind of day. So hop aboard. You can get all 7 plays for $45. It's about $6.40 a play. Can't beat that. Let's take down those books. You want to go long term, you get my NFL tomorrow. So let's take them down together.
So, all right. 21 plays. Bittler would have liked to have seen all 21 on the board in that one. I'm sure we'll have to ask him his take on the 21 play card. Just parlay them all together. I'm sure that's what Brian would say. Why not? $50. $50 parlay. 21 teams. Why not? Why stop at 21?
Yeah, let's keep going. 30.
Well, thanks for joining us, Ron. We'll see you tomorrow for NFL football. Of course,
best of luck, Ron.
You can read Ron's write-ups over at PickDawgz.com, and him and I have been doing just some select games. Really, no particular emphasis on anything at Sports Chat Place. We just cover about 4 games each of the days of the weekend. So be sure to check those out as well. But thanks, Ron. Okay. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks, Ron. Okay, Neil saying in the comments, $5 pays $130,000. On what is that, Neil?
That's probably the 21 game parlay.
Okay, I like it.
It'd be interesting because when I start off mine, I usually have a big number. Like I don't know if I have 20, but I usually have a lot. So it'd be interesting to see how many of his matched up with mine, or how many were on the exact opposite side. My guess is probably a lot of both. But but we are about halfway through the show, and I'm just, when I start doing this stuff behind, I can admit what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get it all in order. But we bring on for the first time Jovan, one of the hottest cappers at PickDawgz. He's been hot since he joined us about a year ago. We got so we run every year a Become a Capper contest, and James Clark won the contest, but it was close. It was super, super close. And Rod was running the contest, and I said, this guy, I think, is as good as the guy that won. He might even be better, So it's kind of like, we got to reach out to him. And then at the same time, he reached out to me. So it was kind of like, and he didn't just say, hey, I should have won, or, your guys all stink, I'm the best. He was like, hey, man, I put in all my picks. I nailed a lot of winners. I think, I could do this and whatever. And, here we are a year later, and he's on top of the leaderboard, absolutely on fire. So welcome to the show for the first time. Good to see you. And you're killing it. You're muted, though.
Said thanks for the kind words, Mitch. Joe, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
So
I'm looking forward to hearing your picks today.
Me too. I got my pen out. It's like, I'm all ready. It's like, so the past week, I think what have you hit? Like 90% or something. So it's like, I've been on heaters before, so I've seen them, and you and Rod right now are just like smoking them, So I mean, by all means, this is a good segment to listen. We ask people all the time in our audience like who they want to see, on the show, and you were the name that came up. So we're glad you're here with us, and of course, we hope this is just the first of many appearances here on our Saturdays, and we also do Sunday NFL shows. So you're always welcome. But let's go, Joe. Get it started. Is it Jovan or Jovan? Because Tony calls you Jovan, but I always thought it was Jovan.
Nah, Jovan.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. But Tony calls you Jovan. So it's like, I don't want to call him. It's like Tony doesn't ask. He just kind of improvises, But I ask here. So anyways, Jovan, what do you got for us today?
All right. Well, I got 3 games that I keyed in on. I don't really rate them. They just fell outside of my premiums. So, I just picked 3 select games. Now, the first one starts in about an hour. Chicago neutral site game, Notre Dame versus Wisconsin, and I'm on Wisconsin in this one. I hear a lot of chatter about. Well, I actually, when at first glance, I said Notre Dame, but then as I started, digging in and going through it. I realized a couple things. Now, this is a veteran bunch from the Badgers. 17 return starters, and they're coming off a bye week, real early in the year. But none of us. That's the way the schedule shaped up. Now, we all know about their run game, and I think their run game is going to have a big game against Notre Dame, 75th in the nation in the run defense, and they're also going to be able to pass the ball relatively easily against Notre Dame, as Notre Dame is ranked 84th in pass defense. Now, Wisconsin, it'll be hard for Notre Dame to move the ball against one of the top rated defenses in the nation, which Wisconsin has, and especially since they know Jack Cohn. They know his tendencies. They know how he plays. They had him there, and there's a reason why he's not there anymore. So, and last but not least, never forget that this Notre Dame team lost a lot of meat on the bone from last year's team. And, they only returned 9 starters. And I think this is the game where it's going to bite them in the ass.
Joe, any take on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving Wisconsin and I think teams are going to run the ball great. So look for a tight under game in this one.
I'm on the other side of this one. I like Notre Dame here. I think they win this thing outright. I think that Notre Dame we have not seen the best of Notre Dame yet. I know I'm in the minority here, but Notre Dame has these gigantic wide receivers. I mean, these guys are like basketball player size, and it's like we have not seen them really go over the top yet, and I think this is the game where we see them open up the top and just go right over the top of that Wisconsin defense. And the Badgers have been stout against the run. I mean, 30 yards a game or something ridiculous, right? So there's only one way to open that up, and that's to take it deep and over the top. And, I've seen both of these teams play at Soldier Field. I've been at games where both of them have played, and I've seen Notre Dame play exceptional at Soldier Field, and I saw Wisconsin struggle against Northern Illinois at Soldier. So, not a game that's a premium for me, but it's like you said, it's either Wisconsin or Notre Dame money line for me. And I think for me, it's like I like the value on Notre Dame money line. So, just like I said, not a premium. This is for me. This is a good game for the fans, even though these are not teams that I like. I like going to the games in Madison. They also have a great kettle corn there, also. But I think that they all have good kettle corn in the Big Ten schools. They do. Northwestern has a good kettle corn too. I like it.
Who has the best hot chocolate?
Actually, Soldier Field has a great hot chocolate. If you get it in the Bears souvenir cup, they charge you about $18 for it. It's so good.
I would be guessing Soldier Field would have better hot chocolate than anyone out, like West Coast, beautiful weather. They absolutely have to.
I was at a game at Soldier Field where my friend put his beer in the beer holder and went to pick it up again. It was frozen like solid, like a brick.
I believe it. I don't think that's a stretch of the truth at all.
That was against the Cowboys on a Monday night game where Tony Romo kept running off the field to stand next to the heater. I've been to 2 games at Soldier Field like that. One, Michael Vick got hit like on the first play of the game, and you could hear the thud as he hit the ground. It was like hitting the pavement, and he was he wanted out, And then there was that game. I last like about a half at those games. What do you have next for us?
Yeah, so next game is UK versus South Carolina. Thinking about this game, this is UK's first road game after an underachievement performance against UNC Chattanooga. One of the problems that they had this year that is their turnovers. I think they're -6 in takeaways or turnovers this season, and there's a talent gap between these two teams to be sure. But South Carolina, they do have a pretty decent defense, much improved from last year, and they did hold East Carolina to 17 points. While not comparable in styles, they are comparable in production. So, with Luke Doughty coming back, and from a foot injury, I just think that it'll stabilize their offense to move the ball more. And Shane Bieber, their first year head coach, I think he's going to put them in pretty good positions to not turn the ball over and keep this a tighter game than the 5 or 4.5. I think this is a 3 to 4 point game, no matter how you slice it.
I'm with you. This is an SEC smash mouth game. I love games like this. I know in Columbia, been to some of the best tailgates. They do the fried turkey at the tailgates in Columbia. So, these guys, they're out there early for this one. They're probably out there right now, and the game is, I believe it's a night game. So I know they're already started, in the parking lot of Columbia. Tough ticket, and it's an amazingly tough ticket in Columbia. And expect that home crowd to be all lathered up for this SEC matchup. This is like the type of game that I haven't even looked at the TV stuff, but this is the type of game that they stick on the SEC network, so like half the world doesn't get to see it. And, it's usually just a great defensive, war. And I expect to see the same thing. I'm with you. I think this is a 3-point game either way. 2-3 points. Joe?
What is the line on this one, you guys?
4.5.
If South Carolina keeps their ball security together, I can see them taking this one. That's my whole issue with South Carolina. They do turn that ball over a lot against this Kentucky team who's 3-0. This is one that I won't bet, but I would be willing to put South Carolina on the money line if I was going to bet this one.
Yeah, I see a lot of money line dogs here today, that have a real fighting chance. Maybe you might have talked me into a money line dog round robin here. I think that's.
Ooh, I like it.
I think that's the direction that I'm heading. What else do we have for today?
Last game is one that I don't know how I missed my premium, but this Clemson versus NC State. I'm on the under in this one. Now, all of Clemson's games are staying under this year. They're 3-0 to the under. Their defense is averaging 7 points allowed, and they haven't given up a touchdown yet. 3 games in, that's a hell of a feat. And they're both 19th in the nation in total yards and passing yards, and their offense, a lot to be desired because they haven't been able to move the ball. They're 115th in offensive total yards, and going against NC State's D, they're nothing to play with neither. They're actually 14th in the nation in total yards and 12th in rushing yards and 5th in points allowed at 14 per game. And I think that with this game, it's going to be a slugfest. One of these ACC battles. I just don't like, we none of us like the way that Clemson's playing offensively. But they lost a lot from last year. But not on the defensive side, And I just think that this game is. I think it'll be a major miracle if the total points would get to 35 to 40 points. So I think this is an easy under.
Joe, any take on this one?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see an over game still in this one. I really do. So, and I take the Wolfpack. Wolfpack and over. That's where I'm sitting with this one. I don't see. I just see a lot of points. I really do. No stats in front of me to back that up, but I'm just looking at that over.
NC State played against Mississippi State, though. Only getting 10 points. Against Mississippi State, not good for me.
NC State is one of those teams that they play really good at home and not so good on the road. They're like Maryland. They're exactly the same. They're mirror image of Maryland for me. I think NC State either wins this game outright or they get crushed. And Clemson just wakes up and it's a giant. But I could see. I'm more to the underside here as well. I think it just seems
it's 40.5. Just found it.
But for good reason.
Yeah, it's true.
For good reason. I think that these games have been traditionally pretty low scoring. I think NC State beat Clemson in the regular season a few years ago. It was in a rainstorm. It was 13-9.
I remember that game.
Yep. It was a good one. That was at NC State also. I'm going to have to put something on the money line on NC State here. Throw it in my parlay. What do you got for sale today? You have another game, or you?
No, that's it. Just those three.
You have a 9-pack today. Does that go all day, all night? Is that how that works?
All day, all night action. Wall-to-wall action. Saturday shootout, 9-pack. What I'd like to do is I stagger mines. So from the high noon games to 3:30 games, into the night games. I don't overload it, front end or back end. I try to have a nice even killed, slate of games. So, if you're betting but don't want too much action, don't want to be too exposed, then that's just how I like to have things. And I would think a lot of bettors would like to have things done like that also. People that subscribe to that are clients of mine. Once you win, you go into the next set of games. Do if bets or however you want to do it. So I think that these, I don't rate them like I said, but these are pretty nice set of games that we have. It's conference the conference portion of the season, and this is where the rubber meets the road for a lot of these teams.
It gives people, when you stagger the games out like that, it gives people a chance to kind of recycle the bankroll, as opposed to having, this huge outlay all at once. You could kind of take your winnings and push them, and push them around. And then, the way that I do it, it's kind of like, if I find that stronger game, I don't like, even though my game I like the most might be an early game, if I find one later, I don't press too hard on those games, no matter how my day is going. I kind of try and stay even keel, because for me, it's like I'm thinking about tomorrow. And if you've been thinking about tomorrow with Jovan, well, you're up $1,210 if you bet $100 a game this week. That's pretty good. It's called 12x return on your money and change, and almost 15x for the month. Tough to lose money that way. So, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the show a bunch more in the future, and absolutely slaying it here at PickDawgz. We appreciate you. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Win.
All right. That was Jovan Bertz.
Best of luck today.
Leader on the leader on the leaderboard over the past week and the past month over at PickDawgz. And he has absolutely, like I said, he didn't win the Become a Capper contest, but it was so close that it was like, I got to give this guy a chance, and he is not disappointed at all. Of course, the best part of the contest was Rod running the contest with Ruffalo together. I would have taped some of the conversations of from that one. I think Brian and I would probably still be sitting around, but So we have with us next another first-timer on this show, but certainly not a first-timer in this industry. Got Big Al McMorty with us. Al, welcome to our show. It's your first time with us in the morning. I know you're a regular on the drive-thru, and, of course, you've been doing this for a very long time. Back in the old TV days, you've done it. I've, seen you a bunch. So welcome.
Thanks, guys. I think it might be my first podcast with Brian. I don't know if he's ever done a drive-thru with me, but yeah, I've been handicapping, 43 years now. So even before I got on the TV and the radio shows, but it's been a while.
First show with Joe Madden as well, right? So
yeah,
a lot of firsts going on here. And of course, Al's one of the guys in the industry, and there's not a lot of people that you guys know I don't have a ton of friends in this industry, but it's like, Al's one of the guys that I always reach out to when I have an idea that I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if I should do this, or it's kind of like, I have a really good idea, let me run it by you, whatever. And so I tell him, I'm like, there's this woman, Joe Madden, out there. I'm like, I'm going to go after her really hard to try and get her on the show. He's like, do whatever it takes. And I was like,
aw, thanks, Big Al.
Not disappointed at all.
He's not giving the full story, though. Mitch is not. I also had told Mitch, coincidentally, I had actually was looking at you myself, and was impressed with you about maybe a month before he, mentioned. I said, oh yeah, I've been looking at Joe too. That I said, go get her.
Absolutely.
I like it. Thanks, guys. You made my Saturday.
So Al, what have you what do you got for us today as far as free play for our audience?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about two under the radar games here. I got to listen to Ron a little bit and Jovan, so I don't know if anyone before them have talked about these games, but we're going to talk about two under the radar games, so maybe they haven't been mentioned. The first game we're going to look at is Eastern Michigan against Texas State. Eastern Michigan favored by 6.5. Actually, I see the line's now ticked up to -7. And Eastern Michigan is 2-1 straight up after beating Massachusetts 42-28, but they were favored by 22 points in that win. And that lowered their point spread record this season to 0-3 ATS. One of the things, guys, that I like to do is at game 4 forward, I like to look at teams that are winless ATS. If they're off a straight up win, and then if they also have a 363 or better win percentage, and they're not favored by more than 11 points, these teams have gone 159 and 102 ATS going back to 1980. So I think it's a really good situation to step in and play on an undervalued Eastern Michigan team. Another thing is that this is a sweet spot for Mid-American Conference teams in non-conference games. When you look at what Mid-American Conference teams do in non-conference games, when they're favored from 4.5 to 14 points, those teams are 46 and 25 ATS. I think this is a really good situation for Eastern Michigan to blow out the Texas State Bobcats here.
I like it. No one talked about that one today on the show, so that is a good under the radar spot. We did see Eastern Michigan against Wisconsin, and they looked overmatched in that one, but this is a much different opponent this week, that's for sure.
In this situation of the winless ATS teams, it also falls. Two other teams fall into this angle, Clemson and Missouri, if folks want to take a look at the entire college card and see where it applies. But, of the three, Eastern Michigan would probably be my favorite of those three games.
Joe, this is your style of game, under the radar. Is this one that caught your radar?
Yeah, it did. I'm looking at two really evenly matched teams. I'm thinking it's going to be an under game. Both of these teams have good offenses, defenses that can really stop each other, especially against that run. So I'm liking this under more than anything in this matchup because I think these teams are so similar.
I like that as well. Al, what else do you have for us?
Well, the next under the radar game, we're going to look at New Mexico versus Texas El Paso. Now, both of these teams come into this ball game. It's being played at UTEP. Both come in off blowout losses. New Mexico was shut out last week by Texas A&M 34-0. UTEP was blasted by Boise 54-13. And again, one of the things I like to do, a little bit contrarian, I'm going to play on a road favorite when they're off a shutout loss. These teams have gone 65.7% ATS over 42 years. You also look at this series, between New Mexico and Texas El Paso. Over the years, they've played quite a few times. And when you take the team that lost the previous meeting in this series, that team has rebounded to cover the next meeting, 18 out of 22. So that applies here as well. Texas El Paso 1-6 ATS its last 7 versus the Mountain West, and 0-8 ATS versus Mountain West foes off a loss if UTEP wasn't favored in that game versus that Mountain West team by double digits. And then finally, New Mexico 22-11 in non-conference road games off a straight up loss. I'm going to lay the 2.5 here. Hopefully it doesn't get to 3, but I'm going to lay the 2.5 here with New Mexico.
Sharp's absolutely pounding New Mexico in this game. Went through 0, the line.
Yeah, it's moved up 5 points. Open plus 2.5. Now it's minus 2.5.
At what point do you say this has gone too far for me and I've missed it?
3.
At 3. So this is a discussion that we have on our morning show all the time with Brian and myself, that, Brian will look at the money moves, and I always say, well, if you see it already, the guys who have moved the line have already moved it, right? It's already, you've missed it. And that just because they liked it at 5.5 doesn't mean they even like it at 5, right? And it's like a
100%,
even less. So
yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. You'll see a lot of people say, like, the Sharps are on, the Green Bay Packers. And it's like, no, you can't say the Sharps are on the Green Bay Packers. You have to say the Sharps are on the Green Bay Packers at minus 8.5. Because
right,
and that's
10
now.
It's like, and I don't like to pump other shows and other guys, but Dave Koken always says these guys are purely playing a number. They're not playing, it's a team or a game. They're just playing. They're simply on a number, and that's it. And I agree with him in that respect.
Absolutely. I'd be looking at the over in this one, you guys. I think both these teams, their defenses haven't come out as strong as we would have expected, and I'm seeing a high-scoring game. I think it's 54 I'm seeing a total of, 53.5 on one book. Give me 58, 59 points. And that'd be on New Mexico as well. I think you guys are totally right there.
Well, the thing about UTEP is that most of their wins over the last several years have been against FCS schools. So it's, they've been terrible in the regular games. And like Al said, that's why the record against the Mountain West has been so bad, that most of their wins are against teams, they're in the 5-digit, rotation number games. 6-digit. The 6-digit game. The added games, they call them in some cards. But there's a few added games on the board today that I actually like. But so what do you have for sale today? I have rods. Oh, no. No, I have yours up. What do you have for sale today at PickDawgz, Al?
Yeah, a lot. It is a great card. Like the guys earlier, I had 25 games on my initial run through when I did the work on Monday, and I ended up with, 9 for the week. I had 1 Thursday, 1 Friday, and now I've got 7 left today. And it's a really good card. I've got my college football game of the month. I think Ron mentioned he doesn't like to have games of the month or games of the year because he doesn't know what's around the corner. Well, I know what's around the corner. October's around the corner, and this is the last weekend of September. And I can say that this is my favorite play of the entire month of September in college football. We hit our NFL game of the month on the Baltimore Ravens against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I thank all who joined us last Sunday for that. Don't miss my college football game of the month today on Saturday. We also have our Big Ten, SEC, and ACC games of the month, and then I've got a triple pack as well to round everything out. So 7 big plays. And then looking ahead to Sunday, we'll be here tomorrow to discuss more pro football, but I've already posted 5 NFL winners for folks who want to get an early jump on Sunday's card.
So Al hasn't just been handicapping for 43 years. He's been killing it for 43 years. Last year he was number 1 in NFL on the site, and, I expect him to be on the top of the leaderboards again when all is said and done, at least definitely in the mix, because handicapping kind of like, baseball. It's like you play to the back of your card, and Al has got a pretty good card headed to the Hall of Fame in my book. But
thanks. Much appreciated, Mitch.
Thanks for joining us, and that's Big Al McMorty. He will be a regular on this morning show on the weekends with us as well. So I'm excited to have him.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
We know. See, Al has a odd handicapping schedule. He does it all like at night because I guess the money moves have stopped, in the overnight as much, and it's kind of like you get more of your arms around it, but it works. So we appreciate him getting up early and joining us on the show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow, guys.
Best of luck, Al.
That was Big Al McMorty, definitely a legend in sports handicapping, and definitely welcome him to our crew here at PickDawgz. got about 670 people watching. You guys can smash that like button. It would be appreciated. Leave a comment in the comments if you're watching the replay. You can always catch the podcast version of the show if you can't watch us live each and every day. But
yeah, and don't forget to join the office pool, you guys. Free cash.
Free cash in the office pool. We changed it around a little bit, the office pool. So different prizes this week than last week, but one of the prizes, one of the levels, all you have to do is beat me in the office pool and get extra money. So that's the layup. Joe's a little bit of a tougher out. For me, picking games not against the spread, I struggle with it. So anyways, bring in Rod Zawacki. Of course, Rod, part of our morning group every day here at PickDawgz. And Rod, thanks for hanging around. It's been a little bit of a longer show, but that's okay. Nothing.
That's okay. It's all right. I had time to drink another coffee.
Rod has been absolutely on fire this past month. I think it's his best run he's had since joining us on PickDawgz. He's on top of the board, and it's been a week on fire. It's I don't know what else to say to him because we talk to him every day, right? So it's not like
Morning, Rod.
How was that powder hour? Oh, we lost Rod yesterday, right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah.
We lost him yesterday.
We did, yeah. We internet went.
Well,
when you're in the middle of nowhere.
Well, we found him today.
Really
so, what do you got for us to get things started?
Well, we're going to start off with a game we've talked about already. We've had cappers on both sides. We're going to go with the Irish and the Badgers here. And for me, I'm with you, Mitch. I like the Irish here. Maybe it's a little bit of this red in the beard. I got to go with the Irish. So for me, the Irish 6-2 ATS their last 8 neutral site games, 9-4 ATS their last 13 following a win. Badgers 1-6 ATS their last 7 neutral site games, 2-5 ATS last 7. I seen that Bitler in the green room with your salty face. Yeah. Anyways, you look, Wisconsin, we know what they're going to do. They're just going to run the ball. Pretty easy to game plan against what Wisconsin's going to do. Run. That's what they're going to do. They're going to attempt to run the ball. I think the Irish can slow that down. And you look at the Irish, Jack Cohen, he's having a good year, completing 62% of his passes, 828 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And I think that's where the Irish are going to exploit this Wisconsin defense on passing the ball. I think Jack Cohen comes out and has a huge game today. Take over his passing yards. And I'm going to take the Irish on the money line. I think they get the outright win here. Surprise a bunch of people.
I agree with you.
Get the win.
I agree with you. And I think we saw Cohen against Florida State throw the ball over the top to some of those tall Notre Dame receivers. And I think that's what we're going to see here. It's Brian Kelly's going to open up the top on him. And he's been kind of holding it in there. And, they haven't looked so good in the process. And I think part of it is that he wants to keep his I think part of it is that he wants to keep it in, and also wants to keep his defense off the field. But I think in this one, I don't think Wisconsin's anything special on offense either. So I'm with you on this one. I think this one's easy money. And I'm not a Notre Dame fan. Joe, any more feelings here on Wisconsin?
No, I'm just riding Wisconsin on this one, you guys. Notre Dame has let me down too much. I don't see them coming out strong in this matchup on the road. I think Wisconsin has this one. So I keep listening to you guys to get turned off Wisconsin, and I can't. Okay. You haven't sold me. Tell me.
Maybe at halftime. Rod, what else do you have?
Another game we'll go over quick. Here's two teams that are really dumpster fires. Both teams 0-3 ATS against the number. You got the Cougars versus the Utah Utes. Both teams 0-3 to start the season. ATS. But you look, both offenses averaging pretty close. I'm going to say these offenses are pretty close to being the same. Most Utah scoring 29.3 points a game. Cougars 27 points a game. Cougars 8-3 ATS versus a team with a losing record, 11-5 ATS in their last 16, following a double-digit home loss. Utah 3-7 their last 10 overall ATS, 2-7 their last 9 as a favorite ATS. Utah 1-9 ATS their last 10 in September. They're also 0-6 ATS their last 6 after putting up over 170 yards passing. For me, the edge here, I'm going to give it the Cougars. I think this is way too many points. Cougars on D, they've been creating some turnovers. They're ranked 29th and got 4 turnovers already on the season for this Cougars D, and I think they can do the same. Get a couple turnovers, which get us a cover in this one. I think the Cougars plus the points.
Joe?
I'm looking for Utah to come out strong in this one. Isn't Utah off a loss? Just trying to think. If
Both
Utah's
teams are
off a loss, yeah. I really think Utah off a loss comes out with a vengeance. They're going to have a grudge, a chip on their shoulder, and I really think they come out and beat Washington State in this one. Sorry. I've got
how
Utah.
that record is on Saturday so far, so I love when you're ahead. I guess I'll have to bet it again.
I'm on Utah as well, so we might be in real luck here. I just think it's not a play for me, not a play on Utah. It's a play against Washington State, who was just terrible last week against USC. Absolutely awful. And Nick Rolovich, one of the worst cover coaches in college football. Really horrible at the cover. Even when he was winning at Hawaii, still terrible cover coach. So I like coaches that cover. And Nick
definitely don't put the house on that game. That's
well, put a small condo. How about if we'll put your house on it? Anyways.
Yeah. The only scary thing is neither of these teams have covered the spread this year.
That's why
they're both 0-3 against the spread.
Someone's has got to go. So.
What else do we have, Rod?
No, we're going to go with a big year game here. I like Rutgers plus the points here. I think that's just too many against Picky. Both teams solid on defense here, and being able to slow down the number one rushing offense is what Rutgers got on their hands, and I think the Rutgers D can actually do that. Maybe even cause a turnover or two. In what's going to be a really closer game than what people are thinking. They got Michigan as a blowout. Well, you look at Michigan, 0-5 their last 5 conference games, 0-4 their last 4 versus a team with a winning record. And you look at Picky, he's 2-11 ATS the last 13 versus an undefeated team. I think Rutgers comes here to play today. Michigan's looking a little forward to next week against Wisconsin. That little revenge spot there for Michigan. I think they have that circle on the calendar. You're going to take Rutgers a little lightly. Give me Rutgers plus the points in this one.
Joe?
I'm totally with you, Rod. I think Rutgers plus the points is a great bet today in this matchup. Like you said, Michigan is in a look-ahead spot, and I think they're going to overlook this Rutgers team today. So take Rutgers plus the points. This is one that I wouldn't mind sprinkling money line. I know it's huge risk, but that's a sprinkle on that money line there.
Yeah, I'm with Joe. I'm on the money line in this one with Rutgers as well. Greg Schiano had some amazing success as the defensive coordinator at Ohio State against Jim Harbaugh and Michigan teams, and I think that he carries it over here to Rutgers. We saw last year Michigan went into Rutgers, kind of busting them up a little bit. I think Rutgers this time takes it physically to Michigan. We know that Michigan has leaned exclusively on the run this season. They are the top rushing team in the nation, and because Jim Harbaugh plays super, super conservative, right? This is the guy that took the safety. Remember the 49ers game where they took the safety, and then they didn't take the safety and we ended up covering. It was like the Thursday night thing. Yeah, I remember it well. It was a beauty, but it's all because of Jim Harbaugh's conservative play. So laying 20.5 against a defensive genius like Schiano, just not in my repertoire of things here. What else do you have for us, Rod? Is that it for today? We got one more.
And the last one, we'll go over this one real quick. I think this is the spot you take Kansas plus the points over Duke. You look Duke.
I can't take Kansas again.
I know you can't take Kansas again, right? Well, I'm going to take Kansas here for you, plus the 16 points. Duke 3-8-1 their last 12 versus a team with a losing record. 1-4 ATS their last 5 games, following a straight up win. They're also 0-4 ATS after allowing 200 yards rushing in a previous game, which is key for Kansas in this game. I think Kansas, they run the ball, hold the ball, and keep the time of possession. You look at this Duke offense, and they're definitely prone to turning the ball over, and I think Kansas gets a couple turnovers in this one, and I think they hold the ball a lot longer on offense than what Duke can get up some points here. So I'm going to think Kansas plus the points. I think this is a closer game than 16.
I'm going to let you bet it, Rod, and have all the faith in Kansas because we saw last Saturday, I sat here, had all the faith in Kansas. They did me dirty. They couldn't even get anything done on that field. So I'm not touching either side. I don't like it because I know the minute that I come in and bet against Kansas, they're going to do exactly what I thought they would have done last weekend. So not touching it, but best of luck.
I'm going to straight Ruffalo this thing. I really have no interest. I could see Kansas doing it, but at the same time, man, after last week, I'm a little injured. Joe got me bad. It's like she suckered me in on it. People always blame me for their losers, but it's like they blame me for Joe's loser on Kansas. It's like
your fault. You believed in her.
That one left a mark. It's all right.
That was awful.
They happen.
I cried.
It's the same as losing by a half a point. Rod, what do you got for sale today? I see you got early CFB triple.
Yeah, I got an early college football triple. I got 3 games that I love in the early slate, and then I've got another 3 that I love in the night slate. So you can get the early package, the late package, or you can get them all together in one package for my 6-pack. All over at PickDawgz Premium. You're on fire. Jump aboard.
If you bet $100 a game on all Rod's picks over the last week, you've made $1,123. That is 11.2x on your money in a week.
Wow.
Screw Bitcoin and the stock market on that one, huh?
Yeah.
Way to go, Rod.
Way to go, Rod. Of course, you'll see Rod on our premium pick show immediately following this. We're going to record that and get it out fast. And then the VIP show will also be on the Express. So we'll see Rod in just a few minutes. Thanks, Rod. And, of course, we'll see him tomorrow and every day right here on our morning show on PickDawgz, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m., Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thanks. Appreciate everybody. On to Brian.
Yes, on to Brian, who is patiently waited, behind the scenes. We know he likes going last, so he can wait around for a couple hours. But it's life. That's show business for you. Yesterday I lost the my wager about the backwards hat with Brian, but today it looks like that I am a slam dunk winner. Brian, welcome to our show. 700 people watching us on YouTube. How cool is that? Be sure to smash the like button. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed already. We're here 7 days a week, 365 days a year, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays and Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brian, how's it going?
Very cool for sure. I got a chainsaw going on right outside my house, so
Can't
hopefully
hear
it won't interfere too.
Can't hear it.
Oh, well, it isn't going now, but they've been going back and forth. Anyway, so we got to go a little faster because we've got 12 o'clock coming right around the corner. My first game, I'm going to go with the Florida Gators here, laying the points. They're off an impressive performance here against the best team in college football, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and that game proved that Florida can beat any team in college football. Tennessee had one tough game thus far on their schedule and then got beat outright at home against Pitt. Look for that Florida crowd to be rocking in this game. It's a must-win game for the Gators here. I don't see any chance that they don't beat the Volunteers by 21 or more points. Gators 7-3-1 against the spread the last 11 following an ATS loss, and the Volunteers just 15-32-1 last 48 after an ATS win. Take the Gators, lay the points.
Joe?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you in this situation. I like the Gators for sure today.
Tennessee for me, of course. I just think that Florida a little overrated. Public humping up on them after seeing them last week against Alabama. Super public play here on Florida. I just don't like the way that the Gators have looked in general, and I'm not a Dan Mullen fan. Seen the line on this one come back down. It opened at 20.5. We see 19s out there as well. I see an 18 out there, and all for good reason. Florida overblown, and of course, really bad quarterback play So part of the problem here, 71% of the money coming in on Tennessee and the line moving in sync with that. Expect this one to drop even more. So if you like the Vols here, you might want to get it now. Brian, what else you got?
All right. Don't they have some injuries, though? I was pretty sure they had injuries as well on Tennessee.
I'm sure they do. They're a dumpster fire.
Yeah, they are right now.
It's kind of like Christian McCaffrey. They walk out onto the field and they're injured. He tripped over the pylon. It's like, isn't it magnetically attached now? It's like, yes, but he got stuck in his spike. It's like, Tennessee defense ranks 17th in the nation, 5th against the run. And Florida, of course, 2nd rushing offense. So this one should be just a war in the trenches and a real rivalry game in Gainesville. Sure. Brian, what else you got?
Yeah, my second game, I'm going to take Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets plus the points here. This game takes place at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so we lose a little bit of that home field Georgia Tech advantage there. Yellow Jackets looked more than respectable against Clemson last week as they hung in through 4 quarters, losing 14-8. Now they get a North Carolina team who didn't look great in their first round game this season at Virginia Tech, but North Carolina has hated Duke on deck next, and I think they sleepwalk through this game here. I see this as a 10-point win for North Carolina. Georgia Tech could shock the world today and maybe upset North Carolina, but I'll take the points.
Joe?
Yeah, pass on this one.
Straight Ruffalo from Joe. I like Georgia Tech. I'm with you on this one, Brian.
Yeah.
You're out of luck. I like the Yellow Jackets too here, I think, at home. I think they play good enough. I think we saw them last week at Clemson, a game that they felt they probably could have won, but they really couldn't have. I mean, it was close, but they weren't going to win that game, and they made Clemson look bad, and that is the victory there. And I think they could do the same thing here to North Carolina. I think if you can do it to Clemson, you could do it to North Carolina. North Carolina a little bit more physical up front than Clemson is in the line. I think we're going to see North Carolina probably stick to the ground game here, and that should keep it close enough for us with the Yellow Jackets.
What are you thinking of the sorry.
Go ahead.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay.
I was going to ask you guys what you're thinking of the total on this one. I think the total looks high if I'm looking at anything to bet in this
I
game.
think it totals, but I would go under because I see a lot of running the football going on.
I like under as well. In
65.
This one. I see a lot of running the football, and I see, once again, Georgia Tech trying to play keep away from that North Carolina running attack and that offense, because I imagine that their defense is going to be on the field for a long time in this game.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those games where it's like Georgia Tech will have a chance, but the defense is going to be out there for a while. So, part of the problem here for why I like Georgia Tech with the points, but not in my money line. Not in my money, but it is at neutral site. This one at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So,
yeah, that hurts a little bit. But.
Well, the Chick-fil-A will probably be open because it's not open on Sundays, but it is open on Saturdays. The Chick-fil-A at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Just the 2 plays for you here, Brian, or are you?
Yep, just those 2 plays.
Well, what do you got for sale? I see you got your Saturday Game of the Month 5-pack.
Yeah, that Game of the Month 5-pack includes 2 Game of the Months. My Big Ten Game of the Month, my ACC Game of the Month. Also has the golden ticket in there and a high roller. So you get 5 plays, $50 at PickDawgz.com premium picks. Make sure you sign up for the VIP.
Right? $50 guaranteed.
That's right, guaranteed. So make sure you guys check it out. I'm off a 2-0 day yesterday, 3-0 on YouTube Premium. So we're going to try to carry that over to Saturday.
Of course, we'll see everybody on YouTube Premium in just a minute. We're going to have to end the show because we got to get over to do the premium video, get that out to everyone, and get the VIP going. But thanks, Brian, for joining us. We see Brian every day, and, of course, we'll see him tomorrow for NFL Sunday, and like we do, like I said, every single day of the week. But anyways, Joe, another successful Saturday show. I think it's just getting bigger and better every single week. Just a good bunch of games, and, of course, we have all the games covered at PickDawgz.com, SportsChatPlace.com, and, of course, I do videos on all the games. And you and I talk about these games every day, And
we do.
3:30 p.m. we do our Monday opening college football show, and then Friday we look at all the games again. So we cover a lot of college football, which is almost enough for me. But
almost. We need one more show, I think, for you.
Thanks again,
college.
Joe. Always a pleasure doing these shows with you. And of course, thanks to everyone who's joined us. Be sure to smash the like button if you're watching us on tape or the podcast. Leave a comment, leave a review, do whatever it takes. We appreciate each and every one of you. Let's make it a winning day. I'm going to try like crazy to act more professional tomorrow.
Good luck today, guys.